All right, good morning, everybody. So it is a beautiful morning here in January. It is late January in Phoenix, Arizona, and I want to go over mango trees, a little bit on mango tree selection, on picking a good, healthy mango tree, and a little bit about bargain or discount trees and the overall condition of plants and why are they priced the way that they are. All right, so for the sake of argument, I've got two mango trees here. Let me see if I can back up far enough to show this one. Sorry, it's a little blurry. There we go. Okay, so you see he starts down here. And it goes up, up. And it's just a beautiful tree. Nice and green. The foliage is perfect, literally perfect. Every single leaf, all the way down to the tips being the most important. That's kind of the giveaway of the plant health and how well it's been treated at the nursery. Now this one's been in the ground for, I want to say, about 2.5 years, as is the other one that I'm going to show you here in just a minute. So you see this one's beautiful. The color it's supposed to be, it's blooming, as though it should be fruiting here pretty soon. And it's in beautiful condition. It's in a nice little climate here, and it's got its trunk. This one's exposed, so this one I haven't covered or wrapped this one because this is a extremely healthy tree. So you can see the trunk is nice and smooth all the way down. Okay, so the next tree I'm going to show you, which is planted right next to this tree, for the sake of argument, like I said. So these are about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 feet apart. Okay, so same soil, same food, same water, same conditions, same everything. And these plants were purchased at roughly the same time at 2 different nurseries, and it just shows you kind of the condition on how well that they're taken care of. So one thing that you really want to avoid is trees that are tall and skinny and don't have a lot of leaves on them. So if you go and buy a mango tree, it's best to find something that's a little bit shorter and a little bit thicker trunk. You want a nice thick trunk on them. You want the tree to be a little bit shorter, and you want it to be very dense and wide. You want this canopy to be full of leaves like it is here, because you can see that all of the leaves are shading the interior trunks and little leaf stems and keeping those from burning. And the only thing that gets exposed is this trunk, which I would normally wrap, but I experiment with these trees and I wanted to see if a good conditioned tree could survive with no problem, with no trunk wrapping or no protection from cold or heat or anything else like that. It just comes down to plant health. Okay, so now this other tree I'm going to show you over here. So this tree was bought as more or less a bargain plant, and I'll just tell you from experience that there really is no such thing as a bargain plant. So if a nursery is offering a tree that's on sale, that's outside the normal times of, like, Christmas sales, there's things like that. Outside of normal time, like say after a winter freeze or after the summertime, and they're wanting to clear out some of these trees, those are the trees to avoid, because those are the trees that have gotten the most abuse being at the nursery themselves. It can't always be helped. Sometimes it's the condition of the tree. A lot of these trees, or most of these trees, I should say, come from Florida. So the way that they're grown really close together. So they're usually tall and skinny. And so when they're brought here to Arizona, they're not covering themselves with those leaves because there's no shade. And so they kind of just sit out in the field and kind of burn and start to degrade. They start to lose their life and vitality over time because they're being burnt out there in the sun, having the UV exposed to the trunks of these mangoes, which is like pretty much their number one death, especially if they're already sick. So usually nurseries know when something's wrong with the trees. Either they've frozen, or they've got a disease, or they've burnt up. And I like to think that a lot of nurseries would either just keep that nursery stock back, or just destroy it if they know that it's diseased. But sometimes you just can't tell by looking at the tree. Sometimes you can. So one thing I'm going to avoid from now on are those trees that you buy that are a super good deal. So if you see something like a 65-gallon mango tree on sale for $300, just avoid it. You're not getting a deal. It's the nursery that's getting a deal because they're wanting to get rid of that tree, and they figure they're going to get that $300 is better than trying to get the 1,000. They know they're not going to get the 1,000 for the tree because it looks terrible, but they know they can recover at least $300 on that tree instead of it being a total loss. So sometimes those are given to customers that aren't quite knowledgeable as to what they're doing or what they're looking for. So I'm going to start to tell you things to look for on these mango trees when you go to buy them. And one is too big of a mango tree that doesn't have any leaves. So if it's like sitting kind of out in the sun, if it's been defoliated, it doesn't have a lot of leaves on it, well, chances are that it's been sitting out there cooking in that parking lot or wherever else it's sitting for a long time, and that sun exposure on that wood will enhance the disease that it already has. So for the sake of argument, we're going to be cutting this tree down, and we're going to be examining the inside of this tree, since we have found a lot of disease on these trees, on some of these mango trees that have been brought here from the valley. We're actually going to do a little splice, and we're going to cut this one down and cut it into sections and see if we see anything. All right, guys, so I'm going to cut down this tree now, and for the sake of it possibly having a disease, I'm also going to show you why I kind of think that. It's got some bad marks here, and I think inside this trunk or inside some of these branches we're going to find something here. So we're going to cut this down. I'm going to make one cut, and then I'm going to bring this out onto my patio, because if it does have any kind of disease, I don't want to spread that around the yard. I'll dig this stump out of here, and then I'll destroy the tree and clean my saw and all the good stuff that you want to do to keep yourself prepared for any kind of disease tree that you might have. And know that it's very common here in the valley, and disease in general here is common in the valley. Anthracnose has been found here in the valley, as well as powdery mildew, as well as viruses on citrus trees, canker on stone fruits. Just know that it's just part of the deal, guys. And sometimes, like I said, the nursery just doesn't know, so you can't always say that for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and make my first initial cut here, and then I'm going to take this out to the patio and see what I can find. But let me see if we got anything going on here in the trunk. Okay. Okay, so I've got some spot here, a little bit of spotting here. I'm going to take this up here and I'm going to cut this into cross sections. All right, guys, so here is the tree cut into sections. And let me show you here. You can clearly see the disease in the tree. So this is a fungus or a bacteria that's running through the tree. Let me pull this up here a little bit so you can see it a little bit better, so you can see how it propagates through the plant and lives in the tree. So you see how it's kind of that speckled material, and it's running lengthwise through the trunk of the tree. So what that does is it starts to starve the tree from food and water, and it starts to rot from the inside, and it'll start to look eventually like the plant that I did a video on, the palm tree, where it's got the examples of the inside of how this starts a little like this, and it starts to become larger and larger and larger until it eventually wipes out the tree. So you can see it has a cross section here, so now you guys kind of know what to look for. If you're cutting limbs, you want nice clean wood. It should be nice and pure white like this, and you shouldn't have any fungus that's running through the trunk of that tree. All right, guys, that is, boy, this one's looking so bad. So to kind of give you guys a recap here, if you want to get really healthy trees, you never really know by looking at the tree what's inside of that tree. And just know that every once in a while you're going to get what I refer to as a dud, which is a tree that just didn't have a chance from the very beginning, and nothing you could have done, or the nursery, or anybody else could have done to save that tree. It was just, eventually it was going to become a goner. So I'm going to take this one, like I said, I took this tree out before it became a problem for any of the other trees, but just know that not all mango trees are created equal. All right, guys, thank you for watching.